Get in, nerds. We are playing Burden of Command. We are going to get started with, I believe, the third scenario of the tutorial right now. Well, but first we're going to go to the Aid Your Men screen. Again, we got some nice historical documents in here. I'm not going to go through all of this because I want to get going with the game. So, Aid Your Men, we got a good amount of loyalty and prestige available. Do we have the ability to change Lieutenant Unnamed's name? Doesn't look like it. Alright, so we'll leave that be for now. I'm assuming there will be a point where we'll be able to name our character. But for now, we'll get started. So, okay, so these are our experience numbers already. Yeah, and it looks like this third squad's actually gotten quite a bit of experience. So this is probably from those assault actions that we did last time. Let's see how the other squads are doing. Okay, the second platoon, first squad has just gotten the 25 that we gave them. Ditto with third platoon, first squad, and then the other rifle platoons, second and third squads don't have any experience. The first MG squad of fourth platoon is already up at 100. Is already up above 100. So that's excellent. Second MG platoon is the same. Oh, I think these squads might have started with 100. Because I don't think second MG squad was present or shot its weapons. And then mortar is a little bit low in experience. Alright, so I've definitely got some loyalty and prestige to play with. There's a part of me that wonders if spending all of my loyalty and prestige every battle is the right call. I think it is. So let's get to work. I definitely want my mortars to be a little bit more experienced. So I'll throw some experience their way. I've got enough that I could throw experience in the way of all of these units, but first squad, third squad of first platoon is pretty close to leveling up, and I would like a level up for that squad. Decisions. Do I spread out or do I focus? You know what I think we'll do? So I'll throw a little bit more experience into the second squad of each platoon, and then we'll give the third squad of first platoon an additional little experience bump, and that will get them pretty close to their level up. That's going to be all my loyalty and prestige for now. I haven't spent much on my officers, but I've been gaining an equal amount of loyalty and prestige for each. Leveling up officers costs just prestige. I have been getting some experience and trust by myself. And what about Captain Lamb? Captain Lamb has been getting a little bit. And then these other... Oh, okay, here. Lieutenant Stern has earned some experience, but none trust. Alright, so I think that makes sense for now. And once we get ourselves into a position where we're earning more prestige than loyalty, maybe after the next one, we'll look to be spending a few more points on officers. Anyway, that's where we are for now. I'm going to spend those points, and we'll move on forward. Bullets don't take bribes, stupid. They shoot stuff. In the words of American philosopher Ian Matthias Babbitts. Look it up. It's real. 2 houses we are. Okay, so this is later in the day of September 24th. We are still in our field exercise, so this is going to be our third problem. All right.
No, when we left Fort Leonard Wood, nobody knew where they were going. I mean, they just loaded us on the train, and in fact, we didn't know where we were going until we got close to somebody, how it got out, but somebody said we were going to Camp Pickett, Virginia.
Nice. All right. Your men trudge down the road toward the next training site. A jeep comes the other way, burdened with big green army bags, mail bags. Think that's our mail, Lieutenant? Sergeant Bennett asks. Given how the jeep practically overflows with cargo, some of it has to be for Nickel Company. That's us. We're Company N of the 7th Infantry Regiment. There could be something from my parents, who you left behind sent to parents. There could be something from my wife, who you left behind sent to wife. There could be something from my sweetheart, who you left behind sent to sweetheart. Sent to sweetheart. Okay, so this is an interesting option here. I'm an Army reservist, so I feel like I'm a little older. So I'm probably married, is what I'm thinking. So I'm going to say wife. Being separated from your wife is a hard thing. Marriage is supposed to be a bond, but now the Army comes first. The men are certainly distracted by the possibility of their own letters, too. Sergeant Grant glances between Bennett and yourself, clearly eager for orders. No mailbags for us. Keep marching. Reduced loyalty, extra prestige. Okay. 1 prestige usually equals 1 loyalty. So this gives me a little bit of extra prestige at the cost of 1 loyalty. Flag down the jeep, grab the mail for later. That doesn't seem like the right call. We're in the middle of a training exercise here. A double time march. This costs us some trust, but gets us extra prestige. Okay, or flag down the jeep, schedule a break. This costs me prestige, but gets us a bunch of extra trust. Oof. I don't know. We're in the middle of a train. Well, we're not in the middle of a training exercise, but we're doing training exercises right now. This seems unprofessional. Let's keep going here. Plus, getting a little extra prestige, getting my prestige out ahead of my my loyalty will be useful in terms of upgrading my officers, which does seem like something that I'm going to need to do. So I think I'm going to pick this first one, but also let's be professionals about this, lads. I think from an optimization perspective, I would definitely do this. It feels like getting a bunch of trust is really, really useful. But for in terms of what I'm doing, let's keep going. There'll be time for mail later, but the men's eyes follow that jeep. Even after it's gone, their thoughts remain elsewhere. Guys, we're in Virginia. We're not deployed overseas here, lads. Let's get going here. You know, it's bad when you're looking forward to a cold lunch, Private Morris says to the lanky soldier marching beside him. Could be worse, Private Patterson remarks, briefly glancing down at the slightly more rotund Morris. We could be Marines. Patterson, Private Morris. Nice. This is really nice art. Oh, I like this a lot. The faces are clearly done in a different style from the rest of the art, which I do like. I wonder if that's just down to sort of how they're... Let me look at this. Oh, okay, no, this is just these. Which is interesting. It clashes a little bit, but I think I broadly like the art. I can see why you do it, since you're going for a more realist angle for the faces to make them look like genuine U.S. soldiers. But obviously, you can see it's done in a more sort of stylized way for the clothes and other things. Anyway, give a little laugh. Show the men you understand. Very high chance of +5 trust. Or have Sergeant Bennett quiet the men down. Remind my men why we're here. Even chance of +1 loyalty. Ooh. I'm going to give a little laugh. Yeah. I'm going to give a little laugh. That feels like what my character would do, and a high chance of something good is more useful to me than a high chance of a good of a small bonus is more useful to me than a midland chance of a larger bonus. It's funny and true. Although given the amount of amphibious training that is scheduled ahead, the margin of difference might be slimmer than your men might like. Still, a chuckle sweeps the ranks that dispels the consideration of the improbability of a hot lunch. The humor continues right up until the field umpire, that same captain as before, steps over and signals for you to bring everyone to a halt. This is the Integrated Company Command Operations. The field umpire with the clipboard says. His uniform is somehow crisp despite the heat, right down to the black band of a field umpire neatly set about his sleeve. The good news is that the next exercise is ready. The bad news is that you, Lieutenant, are not. None of these affect anything. I'm verbose. What do you mean? Technically, you're out of uniform, the field umpire says and almost chuckles. Lieutenant Stern and Lieutenant Dearborn will be part of Blue Force. You yourself will be acting as their captain. You will have limited time to consult with them. Limited time, sir? Sergeant Bennett asks in your stead. How limited? Interesting. Alright, so that was a little joke. Because we're an acting captain, but we don't have our captain's stripes, or our captain's bars yet. I forget what the insignia for a captain is, but I'm trying to think, because I think a second lieutenant's 1 bar and a lieutenant's 2 bars, I think. It's been a while since I've brushed up on my U.S. Army insignia. I think a captain... Anyway, I'm just making a fool of myself now. I'll look it up later. The field umpire taps his watch lightly, then gestures toward the nearby rise. Hurry over the rise, argue for more time. Use up preparation time, low chance for far more preparation time. No. I'm not gonna risk that. Hurry on over the rise. Over top of the rise, you find 2 lieutenants in the midst of conversation. Stern paces about, kicking pine cones up with every step. Across from him is a man of bearing, tall without needing height. His hands clasped lightly behind him. Lieutenant Dearborn. Ah, Lieutenant, Lieutenant Dearborn says as he turns to you. We were just discussing the strategies while we wait upon the captain. I'm the captain for this field problem. Stern will eventually gain extra trust, or explain the situation. You'll eventually gain trust. Alright, so... Oh, I see. So Stern likes this one. And Dearborn likes this one. I don't rightly know. This is Dearborn. I don't rightly know which is more important to improve relations with at the moment. Let's go with explain the situation for our boy Dearborn here. You explain the situation. Stern begins to nod halfway through. Dearborn eventually comes around at the end. This appears to be a leadership field problem, Lieutenant Dearborn says after a moment's thought. Best we embrace it for the moment. Yeah, let's talk strategy, Lieutenant Stern replies. What do we know about the enemy? What kind of tricks do the refs have for us? Stern head right out. Dearborn suffers some suppression. Interesting. I'm not sure. We are timed here. So, what do we know about the enemy? What kind of tricks do the refs have for us is not a valuable question in the context. Like we should train how we fight. So what do we know about the enemy? A reinforced platoon from Red Force, Dearborn says. At least 1 machine gun. I didn't hear anything about that in the briefing, Lieutenant Stern says. A very brief briefing. An umpire may have mentioned it in passing, Lieutenant Dearborn replies. A warning whistle blows in the distance. The flag goes up from the nearby radio man. The exercise is shortly to begin. For now, I am the captain. Alright, so, chain of command. The captain is leading the company, and these are platoon leaders. I'm just going to briefly read this. Okay, alright, so let's match up those icons. Alright, let's get to it, Captain, Sergeant Bennett says. A captain is a wild card for orders. He can activate any unit in his company regardless of the active leader by using the Take Command button. Furthermore, a captain can bolster, press, and rally any squad in his company that is merely adjacent to him. Okay, so it is like... Oh, I'm really going to date myself here. It is like 5th edition Warhammer 40,000, where captains have a wider command radius than lieutenants do. In this scenario, you'll play on the map as Captain Lamb so that you can learn about the captain's role. A captain provides flexibility with orders. A captain can allow 1 platoon to really push. A captain can command adjacent units. A captain and only a captain can bolster, press, or rally one of his company's units when adjacent to a squad. That gives him range and means he doesn't have to stack within the squad. A vital thing if lieutenant is already there. Right, because we're on unity of command rules, so an add-on units can't stack and regular units can't stack. So same as in unity of command, you can have a division and a headquarters in the same hex, but not 2 headquarters or 2 divisions. Same is true here with squads and commanders. Alright. So, it's Jason. Yep. All right.
You may think tactical leadership is all about leading men in combat, difficult moral decisions, but frankly, a lot of it's about coordination. or what the military calls command and control. Wouldn't be a credible leadership RPG without some of that. And you've got some problems, LT. Look at you. You're inexperienced. You've got 4 orders to run 3 squads. Contrast the captain. He's got 5 stars. He's got 6 orders to run. Wouldn't it be nice if you had that? Well, maybe someday you will. Now, you're running a platoon. You're not running Stern's weapon platoon. You're running your 3 squads. And the interface reinforces your spotting them. There are ovals for your platoon. They're also over here. And you have an insignia for your particular platoon. You're reminiscent of the Cottonbalers insignia. And by the way, you can customize that.
Cool. A whistle is blown. The mission finished the exercise before turn 4. The men suffer no more than light casualties. Okay, so I can take some hits in this exercise. That's good to know. I want to get maximum marks for both, obviously, because that's the optimal way to do it. But let's get going here.
Mortars, forward.
So the captain.
Quickly now.
Okay, we got some. Oh, I see. You can left-click a location to get a sense of what. So is this where I can see from this location, or what locations have visual to me from here? Unclear. This is left-click that I'm doing, so curious. Anyway, select the captain. Okay, so we got a squad that's down real bad. Select the captain, rally button, rally the adjacent unit. Unlike a regular unit, a captain can bolster, press, and rally their company squads when they are merely adjacent. Alright, so get rallied, idiot. That squad is getting their shit in gear, but we can press them to do more, Sergeant Bennett notes. Soldiering isn't a big dessert and beds of flowers. Isn't about big desserts and beds of flowers. Blah. What a good line read. Oh, so good at video games. Press the men into action. Together you and Bennett get the men moving again. There's no time to rest, not yet. The press order will expend 1 leader's order, but then refresh a single order for a squad. This is most often used when the squad is in a bad position, but is also spent and can't act. A squad becomes tired and can't be pressed again until it is rested either via a rally or the rest command. Okay. Select the captain. Select press. Alright, so this lets us throw an additional order point their way. Makes the squad tired. Tired units can't be pressed again. Okay, so tired just means you can't press again. It's not like a penalty or anything. Alright, Shazam.
There's another reason we do lead around, to emphasize another coordination problem, namely coordinating your company of 4 distinct platoons, independently led. That's not easy, and so the rounds force you to choose what platoon is doing what. And there's a last reason. The military likes to say, the enemy gets a vote, meaning they're not going to sit quietly while you do all the wonderful things you'd like to do. They might want to do things that interrupt your plan, kind of like happens in chess. You get a move, they get a move.
The umpire writes something in a small box, then initials it. Nothing like a few sharp words from a sergeant to get the squad moving again, Sergeant Bennett remarks once the excitement ceases. Now I need them to lay down some fire to see whether the enemy's hiding over there. Order recon by fire. Send a messenger to Dearborn, Sergeant Bennett asks. It's his men, and you'll probably have to have other things to take care of shortly. No comment, the field umpire notes, except to say that a captain's time is valuable, which is why you can have subordinates which is why you have subordinates that you can act in tandem with. Okay, interesting. Dearborn activates at least 1 squad under his command. These squads need not expend all their orders. Enemies round. Stern's round. Stern activates at least 1 squad. Dearborn squads may not spend orders unless the captain uses take command. This will cost the captain an order. Enemies round. Dearborn squad. Dearborn squads may activate without needing the captain to take command. If one of Dearborn's squads has previously been activated, it may expend its orders without requiring an officer to spend orders to activate it. Coordination between platoons. Okay, so interesting. So what this means, I think what this means is that the captain is always active, and he can activate anybody from anywhere. And squads that have already been activated by the captain's take command, then they stay active and Dearborn doesn't need to spend an order to order them. All right, cool. Delightful. Back to the question. He's right, Dearborn can handle this. Have Dearborn order a recon by fire without having to pass the round. A captain can act in tandem with his subordinates. Have Dearborn order a recon by fire without having to pass the round. Or if only Stern were in a better position, have Dearborn... Okay, all right. So all these lead to the same outcome. Act in tandem. All right. Yeah, a captain can act in tandem with his subordinates. A captain can expend orders to supplement a platoon's action without having to pass the round. This means the enemy will not have a chance to act, for a while longer at least. And then there's the Bokopedia menu. Alright. Select, so, click off. Select squad. Click recon by fire, that's ya boy here. Fire in the hex. If an enemy is hidden in the hex, there's a chance they will fire back and be revealed. As usual, shooting with a rifle squad will consume up to 2 orders. Alright, so they have 1 order left, because they were pressed. Alright. Pew pew. Oop, I didn't. And this is who ordering? This is Dearborn ordering, I believe. Because we're still technically in Dearborn's... Did we pass the turn? Because I've still got all my orders. Oh, this is Captain Lamb. Never mind. I was like, I've still got all my orders. And it's like, no, it's because it's Captain Lamb. All right. We spotted them. There they are, Sergeant Bennett calls out. And they're dug in like a dog on Monday. Time for mortars? Nearby, the field umpire makes a note in his clipboard. Time for some mortars. A quick wave of flag gets Stern's attention. It is now a question of targets. The refs want 2 casualties taken, and they want 2 objectives taken, and they want casualties to be light. All right. Yep. These are both options. Click them. You start here. Current major defeat. All objectives, as objectives are completed, this status will improve. All right. Beautiful. So, if we capture at least 1 objective, that's a minor defeat. If we capture at least 2 objectives, that's a draw. If we capture 2 objectives and get more VPs, not sure what that is determined by. We'll get a minor victory. And then I'm not sure what the distinction between major and minor victory is for this scenario, but we'll see. All right. Yes. All right. So we'll hide the VC. Hold on. What happened? Okay. No, we're just going. We're going. All right. So I'll be able to go back and look at the other one in a second. Arrows show objective control. A hollow arrow means uncontrolled. If present, rec means required hex. For certain victory conditions, you can zoom and scroll. I think I. What is possession? Okay, I think we've gone forward. So I think I need to be paying attention to what's on the right here. I thought I was just menuing around on the left here. Okay, so if no one is in possession of something, you can look at the footage and see what it was, but I wasn't reading it. Things get a little tricky, at least until someone puts up a proper flag. So that's got to be about objectives. Casualties happen. You've seen plenty of those before, and even now. Sometimes a seemingly healthy recruit will drop dead when their heart gives out because of some unforeseen medical condition. But regardless of the source, the more casualties a unit suffers, the worse it will be as a fighting unit. As casualties increase, the men victory condition will progress towards defeat. All right, so men starts at the top with in at least some kind of victory category, and then yeah, as casualties go up, the men victory condition will go down. All right, nice. That seems perfectly reasonable. But regardless of the source, the more casualties the unit suffers, the worse it will be as a fighting unit. Right now, the men are fresh and the objectives have not yet been taken. Time to command. Press the button to close things back up and return to the game. Okay, here we go. So, what was that other thing? Is there like a log? Where are we? Chain of command. How to? That's fire types. Trains and such. Okay, tanks and such. I missed something in there. LOS tool. Left-clicking a hex now makes it the anchor for an LOS line. As you move your mouse around, you will see where LOS degrades or stops and why. Left-click a different hex to examine other LOS. Okay, interesting. I'm going to need to read more about that. All right, I see. So that's what this is, and then we look at these ones. So currently, we need at least 2 objectives for a minor or a major victory. All right, and we got these are each worth 10 VPs. All right, that makes sense. Arrows show objective control. A hollow arrow means uncontrolled. If present, rec means required hex for certain victory conditions. You can zoom and scroll, click mission button to exit. All right. Easy peasy. So, number 1, use the... could you view this? Okay, so I've done that already. Number 2, use the captain. Number 3, left-click the support mortars button, then right-click the hex. And finally, barrage this hex with mortars. All right, so, mortars. Get mortared, idiot. Nice. Flags go up. The enemy over there registers the hits. Mortars are fired, the umpire indicates. You will shortly have heavier artillery available to you. Proceed to an overlooked position and act as a spotter for the rounds. Time to move to higher ground. The captain can see all this, which means he can call in artillery on all this. Exercise continues as you hurry up the hill. So this is just me, Captain Lamb. Move the captain up here. Let's... Control right-click. It's control. I always think it's shift. Let's go ahead and not get sniper called. Don't want to get
So let's
sniped.
see some of these leadership problems of command and control in practice. We've got an assault situation. We're hoping to take out these Germans here. To make it a little clearer, let's turn on bases. And why don't I bring down one of my squads? Notice up here it's indicating it's going to be my round because I'm doing something. So it's committed to moving my platoon. Now I could move everybody now, but I want to emphasize you don't have to do everything at once. Let's just say I want to pass, see what the enemy does. So I do. Luckily they're pretty passive. I'm going to creep these guys up. I'm going to use hotkeys to make this faster. Now I feel in pretty good position for an assault, but unfortunately it's my round, so I can't really start firing astern. Let's pass. Remember, leadership rounds, command and control.
Spotting. You can see a lot from up here.
Stern's going to soften these guys up, hopefully. It's bolster, of course. You always want to do that to win a firefight. Ah, wow, that was nice. We got them red right away. Let's just do one more to be careful. Though when they're red, you're usually in pretty good shape for an assault. But why not be overly cautious once? But I want to keep the momentum going. Now here's my problem. What if they've got a leader in there who's going to rally them? The enemy gets a vote, right? So I can't make my assault this leader round because it's Stern's leader round. So what am I going to do? Ah, this is where your ace in the hole comes in. Your captain.
Enough to sketch out a rough battle plan. You can see enough to sketch out a rough battle plan. All right. The field umpire taps his pencil against his clipboard as you get into position. Here we go, Sergeant Bennett says. A concealed view of the battlefield. Not perfect, but take a look at that house down there. The enemy is almost certainly inside. We could ring their bell with some artillery. Let's bring the thunder. Continue the scenario with a little artillery. The United States artillery is going to use a lot of artillery. The United States Army is going to use a lot of artillery. That's true. Readers added context. This is correct. Those of you who have played Hearts of Iron 4, you know that the phrase superior firepower is the one that applies to U.S. Army doctrine, to U.S. ground forces doctrine in this time period. And here comes some of it. The U.S. Army is going to use a lot of artillery, and here comes some of it. All right, so we need to barrage an objective. I don't have any squads in position to attack this objective right now. I can keep them pinned down with my machine gun, but I don't. These rifle squads are going to be needed to assault it. So I think I'm going to barrage this objective. .105mm guns. These are the 105mm howitzers have a truly stunning range. It's got something like they can shoot like 6 miles or something. It's bananas. At least during this time period. By the end of the war, I think we're already by the end of the war using 155s, which can shoot 15 miles in some cases. But right now, because it's only 1942, we've got this slightly smaller, but not really smaller artillery. All right, let's shell the shit out of them. Flags go up. The exercise is paused as the refs check your numbers. They then verify things with their rangefinder. Eventually, they agree that the 105 scored good hits. That's the math, then, Sergeant Bennett says as you survey the hammered target. They look suppressed, so let's follow up in those buildings before they recover. Discerning enemy capabilities is a key point of the exercise, the field umpire remarks and idly taps his clipboard. However, there is another small matter. Our options are, wait for it, what is it, sir, and please continue, dear umpire. I'm going to say the first one to max out my sarcasm. The umpire squints pointedly at you, and then points down the hill at where the team of Stern's machine gunners have positioned the big wooden log that represents their Browning 30 cal. Trouble is, the weapon has a blind side in regards to the southern objective. Send a runner, wait for the umpire, yell the order down to the MG men. I want to be more verbose. Here's the thing. I do want to be more verbose. But here's the thing. I don't necessarily think that the MG is positioned wrong right now, because it's covering the eastern objective. And if I turn it, the eastern part of my line is going to be vulnerable to assault, and there's only an MG over there. But I think I'm overeating to this. I think I'm just deciding if I want to increase my verbosity or not. So I'm going to increase my well, I'm definitely overthinking this. But here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to increase my verbosity, and if it's wrong, it's wrong. You draw in a deep breath and prepare to let your voice carry down. Select this unit via the take command to change its facing. There we go. Use the take command button. That's this boy right here. All right, cool. So that's going to cost me one of my orders. All units face one hex side that determines their firing arcs, flanks, and rear. Changing facing costs no orders for any squad except for halted vehicles, which makes sense. Vehicles don't really turn unless they're moving. Left-click the unit, select the change face icon, and then right-click an adjacent hex to change the facing. All right, so we want them facing. Okay, right-click and did I do it? Hold on. Select this unit. Take command. this and right-click an adjacent hex. Turn, now they're facing south. Alright, beautiful. Stern's gunners swiftly reposition their wooden log to cover more of the battlefield. That'll have to do, the field umpire remarks. Lieutenant, Captain, you may, as they say, fire when ready.
Captain Lamb here can do a couple of things. First, he's going to take this squad. You notice it's spent. And he's going to revive it. He's going to press it, give it an order. Notice he can do this even though it's your round, because he's the captain. He's going to bolster. I bet you can see where I'm headed now. And let's do the assault. Notice I get to do my assault during my round. Hoping for the best. Ha! I use the captain to glue my company together, to coordinate my weapons platoon with my infantry platoon. So, use your orders carefully. Place your leadership appropriately. Manage command and control. Command and control on the battlefield is hard. That's why you've got the burden of command.
Alright, the exercise will now commence in earnest. 2 houses, 2 objectives. Finish the exercise before turn 4. Suffer no more than light casualties. Alright, so, who's currently leading? It's currently... I've got command of this squad, but it's currently Dearborn. Right, so I can't do anything with any of Lieutenant Stern's units because it's Dearborn's turn. So, I've shelled this objective pretty good. This enemy unit is cowering. I could bolster and storm over there, but that doesn't seem as important as going over here. I can't tell what's going on with this unit. I don't want to go forward without... I'm concerned if I send a unit hurtling towards this enemy that I'll end up in a hairball here. So, I think... With that having been said, this unit's cowering. I don't think they're gonna be taking pot shots at me as I go over this terrain. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pass it to Stern. Stern. We're gonna see what the enemy does. On Stern's turn, we'll barrage this objective, and then we'll let Dearborn finish out with an assault. And we'll see what the enemy does.
Hey, Kaugummi-Soldaten!
Okay. So that's a rally. We've currently got Stern active. So, let's start taking shots. Before we do that, though, do I want Stern to bolster? If I bolster that mortar, I can then move forward and bolster the MG, or I can move forward and bolster the MG twice. I think the mortar... Oh, no, the mortar's already fired. Okay, so just Stern. Why don't you head on forward? But remember, take command. All right, no, that's fine. That's what I want. Bolster.
Don't dig in. We're moving soon.
And then I'll shoot at these guys. Unknown amount of suppression. And some experience. Very good. And you're spent now. Okay. I may have done that wrong. But we'll shoot again. Okay, target heavily suppressed. Alright, that's good. I thought I saw a rally down here, but maybe not. Oh, I think this... Yeah, they've definitely got a leader in there. Alright, so this should pass us back to Dearborn. And he can handle the action.
Mickey Mouse is kaputt!
Alright, can I get here? It's looking good. Yes, alright, so I can see they're experiencing full suppression. So, what do I want to do? I think I want a bolster on this unit, and then they can move forward and assault. And then if there's still time, I can also assault that other unit in the corner. Do I want to gamble on doing both of those this turn, though? Because that could be a major error. I don't know how many more enemy units there are kicking around over here. So, we'll move Lieutenant Stern to... or Lieutenant Dearborn to this unit. We'll bolster.
Follow me to victory.
And then we'll assault. I don't want to be assaulting from lower ground. Let's do it. Oh, I shot instead of assaulting. Oh, that was not smart. Alright. Well, mistakes were made. It is what it is. No, I don't want to have... You're already activated. Inactive, no immediate leadership. You... Hold on. I can do this. Select, take command. Assault. Too far. Oh, cripes. I really goofed that up. I really goofed that up, friends. Alright, so what we'll do is we'll move this squad here. And that'll be... I can't get there either? Because they can't go through their own squad. That's... Oh, this is a real pickle. I really goofed that up. Alright, well, it's fine. Let's go ahead and... Oh, this is going to cost me a whole turn. Is there like an undo thing somewhere in here? No, you know what? We're doing it. It is what it is. Alright, that's passed. The enemy passed. Turns left 5. Again, it's going to slow us down.
Hello, LT. I want to talk to you about one last nice aspect of your ace, your captain. He can influence troops adjacent. Doesn't sound that powerful, but it turns out to be quite efficient. So I'm going to have him bolster, I'll use hotkeys here, this adjacent member of your platoon. You didn't have to pay. Let's bolster these guys. Still didn't have to pay. Notice the enhanced movement. And if you want to be sneaky, you can even take command of one of my, or I'd say one of your platoon squads, and pay their initial activation for their move. That leaves you free to do whatever you might need to do. Assault, lead firefights, etc. You can also rally. Powerful.
Alright, flags up, flags down. No one's quite sure what's going on. There's some yelling between the umpires about the bombardment, but it makes little sense. Finally, the umpires refer to a telephone switchboard they've set up. Stenciled on one side of the words field radio. Look at that beast. Hope we don't have to lug it overseas, Sergeant Bennett says. Stern leads the weapons platoon. Dearborn has third platoon, but for this field problem, you are their captain. Your strategy is theirs. Both objectives need to be taken. Got a glance at the umpire's clipboard, Sergeant Bennett remarks quietly as the two of you watch the radio operator's work. He's going to rank your personal performance. That means leading an assault bolstering squads, Rallying squads, pressing the enemy, and shooting at the enemy. The whole smash. Okay, what's next, Captain? Sergeant Bennett asks as the two of you return to your attention to the field. Alright, so these units are still fully suppressed. Who do we have control of now? Who's acting? Alright, well, I think we're going to try that again. Hold on, before I do this... Okay, so I'm choosing to start out. I'm going to start out with Dearborn. Both these... Hold on. How do I want to do this? Because the thing is, I don't want to get all shot up by this squad, because they're in good stead as we move this way. So, can I can put artillery over here. That should do some suppression to them. And that'll make them much less likely to get up to any nonsense. Alright, so they're at least reasonably suppressed. Next. So Dearborn's got 3 orders to go here. If I activate this unit and then have them shoot over here, that's... What does this look like? Okay, hold on. I need to bolster first. Dearborn. Bolster. This unit.
Gentlemen, ready yourselves.
Now what does this look like? This looks real good. Not sure what that little indicator is. I think that's a morale thing. Let's do it.
Heard the radio took a hit.
Gotta wire up the phone.
Come on, get it done.
Alright, we got him. Ooh. Ambushed by an enemy MG. Alright, that is not good. They are not in a good position here. Ooh, problem. We got problems. Alright, can I shoot at this unit? I cannot. If I take command, can I shoot at this unit? Doesn't appear that I have visibility. Alright, so, a little bit of a curveball. I got 1 activation over here, and this squad is fully suppressed. I need to see... I do have the ability to shoot over here, but it's not good. So, what I'm going to do is have my main man go down here, activate and bolster this unit. And then that shooting is going to be a lot more effective. Do I have the ability to shoot at them with this unit? No, I do not. So, we'll move with waypoints. We can only go to here. We can't get all the way onto this squad. But that's okay, because I got additional command range. So now, we bolster this unit.
Come on!
Yeah, come on. Oh, that's not good. Those chances are rough. Let's wait. Let's wait and see what they do. Okay, they're flanked. Dearborn is not currently active. Stern shoot over here. Doesn't look like he can. Oh, this is bad. Let me see. I goofed this up real bad. I'm going to move this unit in to support the squad we've just moved up into that house. The enemy squad down here is suppressed. So, while it's not ideal, it'll give us a little bit of extra cover. Oh, I really should have... Really should have assaulted this unit already. But of course, now I've only got one more thingamabob. I already bolstered this unit, so they should already be bolstered. Well, gosh, I really goofed this up. I might end up taking some casualties here. But let's move this squad in to support the MG. No, to support them against the enemy MG. This might be a huge mistake. We'll find out in a minute. Alright, so, and then Stern. Do we have any good support? We do not. I could press. Restores 1 order. Now, mortars need 2 actions to shoot. Right? I think they do. And I don't have the ability to... Well, I suppose I could press them twice. Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to have to do. So, I'm going to have to grab Stern, move him back to the mortars, press them twice. No available chain of command. What you mean?
Let's find more targets.
There's chain of command available. Okay, so now these guys... Oh, right. They can only... Alright, so, hold on. Stern. You are available to do that. Alright, so, no spotter LOS. Okay, now we're going to get real silly. This is not... Do not try this at home. I actually can't. I goofed it up. I really goofed it up. Alright, well, worse things have happened to better people. Let's see. Let's move the MG forward. And we'll change their facing to be this way. So they're covering this area at least. And that'll make it a little bit easier for them to get done what they need to get done. Alright. So, oh, that's not great. The nearby radio crackles. One of the refs cups a hand to the headphones, then blows a shrill whistle. The exercise pauses. A field umpire steps toward you with his clipboard in his hands. He points toward the south edge of the field where 10 soldiers emerge from the brush wearing blue armbands. Who are they? All my men are accounted for. No idea. They look human. They look human, sir. Very good, Lieutenant. Clearly the Army continues to accept only officers of the highest caliber, the field umpire replies crisply. Those men out there are now your responsibility. Get them out of the exercise area. They can be honorary Nickel Company men until they leave. Sergeant Bennett remarks. The Wandering Squad. Okay. Is it a new turn? Yes, it's a new turn. It's turn 3. Alright, so activate this squad and move them away from the training exercises. By taking command, alright, and move them away from the training exercises. Alright. I can't quite get there yet. I need to get this enemy squad the heck out of here. So, first things first. They're already in full suppression. They're cowering. So, I should... Let me go ahead and bolster the squad I've currently got. And then these boys can deal with this enemy squad. Ooh, not great. We just crapped out, Sergeant Bennett says as the refs roll their dice and decide that the assault wouldn't work, but maybe we can shift the odds back in our favor. To assault, use a high morale unit and preferably bolster that squad prior to making the assault. If possible, flank. Okay.
No can do.
Okay, so that's a failed something or other. I think it's a failed morale roll. In any case, where can I see this MG from? I can see it from up here. So, let's get Lieutenant Stern up here. Oh, but he's in OLF if he goes up there. I'm going to risk it. I got to get going and get this machine gun destroyed. But let's not be too hasty here. Where can we see this machine gun from? There are not a lot of good locations that have LOS, but this one definitely does. Here's got LOS to that machine gun. And here does too. Okay. So, Stern. Just you, sir. Alright, I'm gonna go up here. I got decent cover. It'll be fine. Just Lieutenant Stern. He's in the leading round. Alright. He did get shot at. Alright. That's okay. That's okay. Alright. Get out of here, machine gun. No one likes you. Alright, so that's good. And then I don't have any more command points. I can take command of this squad with Captain Lamb, but that would be unwise. Oh boy, I'm really goofing this up bad. Alright, in any case, let's get these guys out of where they're supposed to be at least. Out towards where they're supposed to be at least. So we'll get them moving. Oh, there is no cover. There are no good spots in any of these areas. They're going to get shot the heck up if they go over here. Can I order them to do an assault? No. Morale too low. Once again, I'm going to risk it. They didn't wanna. Alright. Alright, so they failed a morale check, and that's why they're stuck where they are. Alright. This squad's already been taken command of. And Dearborn doesn't have any points. Alright, so we'll see what we can do with... the captain doesn't... the captain. I don't have any points. So, yeah, this was a little bit of a failed turn. I made some mistakes this turn. There's no question about that. Let's just go ahead and have Captain Dearborn just rally his current unit and make sure that situation sorts itself out. And then we'll see what else we can get done. Yep, no more command points. That is what it is. The field umpire checks his watch and taps the pencil against the clipboard absently. They want to cut things short, LT, Sergeant Bennett says to you, wiping the sweat from his brow. I just know it. Major mission victory no longer possible. They set the rules. We must abide. Yeah, but we don't have to like it. Orders? Alright, so, first... So here's what let me review what I want to do. First, I want Captain Lamb... No. First, I want to activate Stern, but I also want to knock this unit out. So I want to have Stern order a mortar strike on this MG. So he's now active. But I can use the captain To activate this unit, bolster them and assault this enemy unit. Alright, so now they're bolstered. Take command and assault this enemy squad. Ah, they still didn't. Cripes. Alright. That's not good. Ah. What a pain. Alright, so we're currently commanding stern. We'll have this machine gun just pound this objective. And we'll have them do it again. And get them a little bit more experience as well. Alright, now we pass command over to Dearborn. Alright, this squad. They're green now, which is concerning me. This might be a giant mistake. Well, no, this says we're doing good. So let's do it.
Gentlemen, follow me.
Hey, excellent. Oh, all right, wonderful. Oh, cripes. All right. So, do I have the ability to do that again?
Gentlemen, to me.
2 assaults in 1 turn. Our win initiative chance super duper high. I suppressed the bejesus out of them with my machine gun. This could be a giant mistake. We have a 50-50 chance of passing that morale check. Let's try it.
Gentlemen, advance. Come on, go. We have them now.
Excellent. I think I did it. Flags go up. Whistles blow. What the hell? Sergeant Bennett asks. Your guess is as bad as mine? Something big? Sigh and wait. Your guess is as bad as mine. Enemy bombardment, the field umpire indicates and then writes something in his portion of the clipboard. Late as usual. It'll be heavy enough to mark the end of this exercise and the beginning of the review. The mission minor victory didn't quite complete it on time, but very light casualties, so major victory for the men. That's very good. No one out of action, sir. I'm going to continue with the story to see the fallout of this, and then we'll close out the episode, because it's been a really long episode.
I think a good leader is a man who knows what has to be done and sets about to do it. But he also has to know about the people that he's got to do it with.
You're not liking a guy and you know he's got the ability to lead you. You don't care whether you like him or dislike him. First of all, guts. Second of all, brains.
Guts, a lot of guts.
You ain't got the brains, you don't belong there.
A lot of guts.
Because you're going to take men with you when he gets killed.
You don't want them to, you want to take no men, no matter if they hate you or not. You want to get them in alive and get them out alive.
You got to look up to the guy and like him. If you don't look up to him and like him, you're not going to go with him. And then everybody tells you any different. They're talking through their hat.
Well, I mean, I get it, but those guys are paratroopers, right? Like, those guys were the best of the best. The PIR, like yes, PIR officers need to be absolutely incredible. A parachute infantry regiment. Those officers need to be incredible. They need to be on their business 100% because basically they enter every scenario surrounded. Guts and brains, you need both. In the infantry, you're lucky if you get one or the other. I think my favorite quote about recruitment in World War II is, the Army started by inspecting eyes. The Army started in 1942 by inspecting eyes. By 1944, they were only counting them. The referees confer. Clipboards are exchanged. A dialogue concerning your performance begins and ends. Mission minor victory. Secure both objectives on turn 4. Major victory. Referees determine that casualties were minimal, below 10%. You failed to follow a direct order and put a wandering squad in danger, but that wasn't part of the criteria. Firstly, you failed to personally lead the assault. The field umpire indicates that and idly taps the top of his clipboard with his pencil. And if the men didn't see you with them from time to time, they won't be half as eager to go in. Well, I tried to personally lead an assault, but the squad didn't want to go anywhere. Temporary morale bolstering efforts were acceptable. The men know your voice, Captain, and they'll respond. Rallying technique minimal, the field umpire remarks, casting a sideways glance at Bennett. He means you left things to your lieutenants, Sergeant Bennett says, which isn't terrible, but you have to be able to motivate them if someone takes it in the neck. Lastly, fire direction. Unproven, the field umpire says as he taps the pencil on top of the clipboard. When a captain directs fire, things get done, Sergeant Bennett says. Frankly, you need a refresher course, the field umpire notes, then signs the bottom of his clipboard, which we will arrange to polish the rest off. No sense polishing a turd, Sergeant Bennett remarks. Eventually gain plus 4 XP. Next exercise, this about the squad I ignored. Where did I come up short? Tomorrow's another day, Sergeant Bennett agrees, as the platoon sergeants organize the men into columns so they march back to the barracks. Hopefully Sergeant Layton has a hot dinner ready for them. They've certainly earned it. You know, Winston Churchill said, success consists of going from failure to failure without loss of enthusiasm, and I hope that's how I can make this work. And, you know, we'll see. We'll see if I wind up being a great leader in battle, or if I end up, just leading about as well as your average drunken cat. Anyway, that is all I've got time for today, my nerds. I am loving this game so far. This is really, really good, even though I'm not super great at it. The controls are complex, and I definitely need to keep working at them. But I don't think the learning curve is too steep for this game. Yeah, and I'm having a great time. So, that is all I've got time for today, my nerds. I have had fun. I hope you've had fun, and I will see you on the other side.